Now we're going to rearrange our layers on the side. So to do that, first we want to make all of our layers visible. So what I like to do is, instead of individually clicking each one, I just click on the first one, click and hold it down, and then just drag it down to the bottom. Just a little shortcut. It saves maybe like 0.5 seconds, but any little thing counts. So now that we have all the layers visible, we're going to make sure that our beach layer is at the very top position in between. Let's see, the book says in the layers panel, drag the beach layer up so that it is positioned between the pineapple and the flower layers. So beach layer in between the pineapple and flower. So drag this down right there. You see how it's highlighted blue? So in between the pineapple, which is this one, and flower layer. And like I said, the order of your layers do matter, because you notice how when it was up at the top, it was kind of hiding everything else because it's at the very, very top layer. So by moving it down, you now have a better view of everything because we have it in a correct order. So we're going to be changing the opacity of a layer. So in the previous video, I did mention opacity is how see-through or how transparent something is. So we're going to select the postage layer, which is this one. Notice how it's highlighting that layer. That means that's the layer you're working on. Be very careful when you're working with multiple layers as well, because if you accidentally click on another layer and start moving things around, you might be drawing or erasing something on the wrong layer without noticing. So just make sure you always have the correct one selected. So postage is the one that we're going to be working on. And then up here, you're going to see there's an opacity percentage. So if you click on the arrow, you can drag your little bar right here, and you'll notice the postage is getting lighter the lighter the opacity is. So our book says we have to drag the slider to 25%, or we can just type it in. So 25%, and there it is. That way I'm more accurate and I don't have to drag the little bar. And now it's gonna be a little more transparent, but you can still see it. Don't forget to save your work, by the way. So save. I should have done that in the previous video, but Command S is the shortcut to save. Anytime you make any significant amount of changes, always save every 5-10 minutes or so. So if you haven't saved yet, Command S to save. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be duplicating a layer and changing the blending mode. So we're going to click on the eye icon next to Hawaii. So here's Hawaii. We're going to click on the eye to hide it. And also the flower and beach layers. So flower, hide that. Beach layer, hide that. And then we're going to go to the pineapple layer. And then we're going to right click, and my little bar is way down here, so if I move the arrow, the whole thing pops up. So again, right click on pineapple layer. If this happens to yours, just move your mouse down here and it'll show you all your options. We want to look for where it says duplicate layer, which is actually up here. So duplicate. And you're going to get this little window where you get to name it if you would like to name it. We're going to just click OK. And now we have a pineapple copy. So now in the pineapple copy, we are going to choose overlay from the blending modes menu. So that's actually right next to opacity. So here's opacity. Right now, the pineapple copy is set to normal, but we want to switch it to overlay. So, and as you hover over these, it kind of shows you the different effects that it gives you. So overlay is right here, click on that. And now the blending mode that you set for the copy is blending with the layer underneath. So that's why we created a duplicate of pineapple. So that way, whatever blending mode we set to the top will blend to the layer on the bottom. Next, we are going to select the postage, which is at the very top. And we're going to choose multiply for this one. So go up here, and we're gonna go to, and if you hover over these, you'll see the postage, how it changes. So we wanna do multiply. And the multiply blending mode is multiplying the colors in the underlying layers with the color in the top layer. So the postmark should become a little bit stronger because of that blending mode. So normal is right here, multiply is right here. All right, I'm gonna do save, Command S to save. And the next part is resizing and rotating our layers. So some of you might have already done some of this when you were doing the seashell project, which was chapter 3. So very similar. We're going to be resizing the beach layer. So we're gonna go to the beach layer, click the little eyeball on to make it visible, and make sure that the beach layer is selected. And then we're gonna go up here to edit, and then transform, or actually free transform. Transform, you get to select the specific things you want to do. If you ever want to rotate it exactly 180 or 90, or if you want to flip it horizontally or vertically, this is where you go. Free transform is just that. It lets you do the transform freely at in any direction you want. So we're going to do free transform. Notice that there is a shortcut to this, Command T. That's what I use a lot. So transform T, just remember that, Command T. So click on that, and you're going to get these little boxes around your image. And wherever your mouse is at, so if my mouse is right here, and it gives you these arrows, it's letting you know that you can resize it, the scale, like make it wider. So Command Z to undo. Now if I move it further, you'll notice my arrows now get curved. That means I can now rotate it. So Command Z to undo. So what the book wants us to do is it wants us to drag a corner handle inward to scale the beach photo down by 50%. So the nice thing about Photoshop is when you scale something, it'll tell you the percentage up here. Actually, where's it at? Right here. You got the width and the height percentage. So we can just click and drag till we get to 50, or if we already know we want it 50%, just type it in. Another thing I want to note is anytime you have a specific tool selected, or in this case we're doing a transform, anytime you do something different, your settings or your option bar up here will change. So if I were to switch back to my move tool, you wouldn't see this because this is for your scaling tool. So the next part is we're going to drag it clockwise to rotate. And they want us to do it at approximately 15 degrees. So we're going to move our mouse to where it curves right there. And then click and drag it clockwise 15 degrees. So this one, it kind of shows you next to the mouse what degree it's at. If you're struggling to get it exact, you can also type it up here. You'll notice as you're moving it, the numbers change. So up here, I'm just going to type in 15. And there you go. And then there is a check mark that says commit transform, or you can click return on your keyboard. I usually just click return. Now if you mess up and you want to start from the very beginning, you can always Command Z to undo, or up here, edit, undo, edit, undo, and it goes back to normal. You can also redo. There you go. And it'll gray itself out if you've already gone too far. So I'm back at where I left off.